Hello everyone, it's I, Hughie Storytime, and this will be the fun time I say that on this channel. Don't mind this picture behind me. My brother printed it out for me. I'm gonna take it down soon. He just did it for my last day of exams. So yeah, I want to thank everyone before I start this video for watching for 3 years of Hughie Storytime. And people who have been begging me to make a video and a final video for the end of year 11. I had my last day of school yesterday of the time of recording, and I just want to say how good of a time yesterday was and how I appreciate everyone that took part yesterday in my entire life at secondary school. Entire time at secondary school, I should say. First thing I want to say is my favourite video I ever made was my first video, which was Fred. I remember that day so clearly. We all got on the 50 and we chatted to some random 20-year-old loser probably with his girlfriend, but he probably was some real loser to be talking to some kids. But we ended up getting to play Clash Royale anyway with us. And that was a really just special day because it's just so clear to me. It's just a memory that'll stick with me, and whenever I think of that, it will remind me of the school and my friends. I want to say a thank you to Mr. Owen, who told me to make this channel and who gave me the idea to spread my stories online, because I remember every English lesson I'd go to him and I'd tell him, oh, I have a new story, so I've got something that happened yesterday and the day before that, and he told me, oh, Hughie, you should just make a YouTube channel full of your stories, you get loads of views. And this is what I ended up doing. I ended up making a YouTube channel, and look where I am now, year 11, doing the final video for Hughie Storytime. Throughout this channel, I've had friends, I've lost friends, I've made new ones. Just a lot's happened since I've begun this channel, and a lot of it I never would have imagined. And there's a lot of people that have made secondary school and everything just a lot better and easier and fun. And I just want to thank all those people. And people I want to thank for being in videos that I've mentioned. So there's Alfie, who's been in a lot of videos. Chris, who's also in just too many videos to mention. Isaac, who was in the Barton Hall video and 1 year with Hughie Storytime. He was just a mention in 1 year with Hughie Storytime, and he was there at Barton Hall. Leonard, who was one of my YouTube shorts for this channel, when we did a science experiment. That was pretty fun. Casper, what can I say about him? It's just Train Club. I made one YouTube short about Train Club and how it used to be a lunchtime hangout place. I didn't really care about trains and all that. I just wanted a place to sit down at lunch, and the canteen was always busy. Josh, who's also been in a few videos, he was in £15 worth of Capri Suns, and he was also in the pigeon video. We saw 2 pigeons having sex on the ground in front of us while we were playing Pokemon. I just decided to make a video about that. Bailey, who was in the Noughts and Crosses video, he wasn't really in it, but he was part of the story. He fell over in the shopping trolley. I did a collab with Harrison where he hacked my channel and he did his own stories on there. That was fun. That was like during year 9, maybe year 10. That was fun. Ella, my girlfriend, who's watched all my videos since I've first made them, and I remember she used to always tell me before we were dating, she always used to tell me how she thought of the videos, and she was always one of the first ones to watch it and watch the premiere come out and get all excited. Yeah, so she's she's definitely someone I wanted to thank. And then obviously Mr. Owen fell for me from telling me to make this channel, and none of this would have happened without him. There's many more I'd like to thank, but this video cannot go on forever, and I've already listed like 10 people that I wanted to thank. But thank you to everyone that feels like they deserve a thank you. During the time between the last Hughie Storytime and the new one, I've been on multiple trips. I've been to Malaga with Will, and even if it was just me and Will, I didn't really know many people. Well, I didn't know people on the trip, but they weren't really someone I was close to. And I shared a room with Will, and during that time, I had such good fun, even just being with him the entire week. And I'll say thank you to him for making that trip really enjoyable. And thank him for letting me drag him to all the shops I wanted to go to, and going to McDonald's nearly every day. I just want to thank him for that. And I want to thank Alfie and Oliver for the ski trip, where we had such fun, and we all shared a room with Radmir, which was, it's a room with Radmir, what can you really say? And Tucky for the great trip for doing it all. Mrs. Speller, Miss Belinda, Miss Bartley, and Miss Ed, everyone that took part in that trip. That was one of the best moments of my life, all that entire trip. I enjoyed skiing, I enjoyed the disco, I enjoyed the rock climbing. Everything about that trip was absolutely phenomenal. Trip I could go on so many stories about, but one that comes to my mind is when me and Alfie were getting ready for the disco. We were both worried that we were just going to sit in the corner, because let's be honest, let's be honest, both of us are not the most sociable people all the time, but we decided to have a go, and we ended up enjoying ourselves a lot. One of my favourite memories is when Fiend started playing the fucking thing. That was so stupid. And then we all started like, I don't even know, bro. And at the end of the ski trip, we all huddled together. Not a ski trip, the disco, but we all huddled together. That was a good moment. Another one of my favourite memories is when me and Chris and Gilb are all sitting in maths, and I start pouring my water bottle all over our work. Because like I'm so done with maths, bro. At that point we were basically done, and I just started pouring my water all over their work, and then we all have like soggy pieces of work, and then I end up ripping all mine to shreds. And Miss Freya comes over and starts talking to Chris about the work, and I'm just sitting there with a ripped up piece of paper. Oh, maths was good. How we did push-ups in the corner of class, and seeing if Gilb could even do a push-up. That was fun. All the time, Miss Ferreira would come up to me when I'm not even doing anything, go, Hughie! And I'm not even doing anything, he's just calling my name because he thinks I'm up to something. I want to thank everyone that's been to the Radiator, who was part of the Radiator people, and how we got kicked out every single breakdown by this fucking neek who kicked us out. That's just going to be one of the memories that we all gathered round the Radiator because it was too cold to go outside during the winter, and then that just became our spot. Mr. Colvard, his form room was always a place I went to in year 11 lunch, where I could sit down and eat my lunch with Josh and Nate. And how I kicked my shoe into someone's food by accident, not on purpose. And that was a really embarrassing moment, which I don't think I'll forget, but it wasn't a bad memory, it was more funny. Worst thing about it is one of my girlfriend's friends, so that wasn't the best. Another one of my favourite memories is sports day, year 9 and year 10. Year 9 was the first sports day I went to, and I sat with Isaac because no one else was really there. And I ended up having a great time, and Isaac ended up cracking his face open. So, yeah, year 10 sports day. Afterwards, we went to the beach. It was me, Isaac, and Ella. And this is before me and Ella were dating. But Isaac was still basically third wheeling. We went to the beach, and it was I don't think it was it wasn't a nice day. It kept raining and going sunny, and I think Ella almost drowned in the fucking sea. Oh, that was funny. But the walk there was good, except for Philip with his crazy questions. I hate Philip. Philip's my number one alt, bro. Like, it's just the weird people who think you're friends. That's what it is. That's what he is. Year 10 sports day was fun. I don't really remember much about it now that I'm trying to think of it on the spot. But I remember I sat with Oren on one side, and at the end, Ella and her friend were sitting other side of me, and she had this like plastic bunny thing, and she made me keep holding it, and I took photos of it. I'll put that on the screen now. But that was a good sports day as well. I got more active in that one, unlike the other one where I didn't really do much. So yeah, and we ended up winning both times. So suck it, every other tutor form group, bro. Form time with Marlo and Oren is one of my favourite memories as well. How we originally in Miss Wright's class with me and Marlo used to slap each other every single lesson. That was a good time. I really enjoyed that banter that me and Marlo had where we just slap each other. When Oren's in the middle, just having to deal with it. Miss Wright always telling us off when we were doing the Wordle, and how Wordle was such a like popular time in form on Friday when everyone used to not have to do learning for life and all that. That was a fun time. Wordle, OG Wordle and Global, that was the life. Then we got to Mr. Wheely's. Mr. Wheely's not a really great or a great teacher, but he's not the worst person in the world. But every time me and Marlo hit each other, he used to tell us off, so we can't really do that anymore. But form time was still one of the best moments of school, just with Oren and Marlo for the second half for year 10 and year 11. That was a really enjoyable time at school. Year 10 and 11 English with Chris. Oh, Miss McCuz. Oh, that was the time how I used to originally sneak my phone underneath the table when we were doing Macbeth. But then I realised how much I actually love English. So I ended up actually doing English, and how Miss used to come over and take my phone at every lesson because I was playing Block Blast or watching TikTok. Just year 10 and 11 English where we used to get excited when the Chromebooks were there when her daughter was ill, which we obviously didn't wish her daughter was ill, but where we got Chromebooks and got nothing all lesson because of that was a great time. History in year 9 with Troy and Isaac and Jake and Noah. That was a good time where we had the Chromies and we had Miss Jules for nearly the entire year because Mr. Flower was such a bum. He didn't want to teach us. Oh, Miss Jules, what a teacher. I keep saying because I'm trying to think of things to say. Miss Jules was such a teacher, bro. One time someone threw something at the class and she acted like it was some crazy thing. She was like, oh, how dare you? And when Harold used to sneak into the class and tried to get a sweet last time, but then at the end of the lesson she realised he wasn't in our class and he didn't end up getting a sweet. When he stayed the entire lesson, he wasn't even a bad student. He just stayed for the entire lesson when he wasn't in our class. That was a fun time. Fortnite Friday with Troy when we used to play Fortnite on cloud gaming underneath the table with Miss Jewel. Such a lost teacher. When we convinced Miss Jewel that it was Isaac's birthday and she brought in sweets for all of us. Oh, that was a good time. And we still feel bad about it for this day because she put in such an effort getting sweets for all of us because it was Isaac's birthday. That was a fun time. Year 8 English, I can't say enough about that. If I started talking about that, I'll be going on forever. Mr. Owen, best teacher ever, best class ever. I just want to thank everyone that was part of that class and part of that time that made the class so fun. Year 9 science with Miss Ferrari. Don't even get me started. What a bullshit teacher. She was probably racist and sexist at the same time. Not even going to start on it. Every time Troy came in the classroom, get out of my class. That was so crazy. When Lenny used to throw shit at, well, he threw shit at us once. He threw like a wire. It wasn't even at us. He just threw it in the air and it landed near us. And Miss Ferrari sent me and Alfie out the class. What? We did nothing. When me and Alfie had a fight in that class, like a full-on fight, and she just did nothing. The only time she really didn't do anything, probably scared I was going to punch her in the face. We flipped over a table and everything. It was bad thinking of it, like when we were first doing it, but now it's just funny. During that time, me and Alfie didn't really talk a lot, but then we became obviously friends again since we're like boyfriends basically. When PE was like the best thing ever, we played dodgeball every lesson. When Chris got mad because he couldn't play basketball every lesson, but we ended up playing dodgeball. When I played Danish long ball by myself because Alfie and Chris were playing basketball and I'm shit at most sports, so I was playing Danish long ball with all the girls and with Isaac and all the special kids, and it was an alright game. It was fun. I enjoyed that. When Oren convinced me to be on the cricket team, that only team I've ever felt that I was really a part of, except for London's Line, but that wasn't really a team. We got to miss loads of lessons because we were in the cricket team. I was terrible at cricket. I'm not good at any sports really. Best sport I'm good at is dodgeball because I can catch the ball. That's about it. But cricket, I was shit. I couldn't throw the ball. I couldn't bat. I couldn't field. I could field. That's probably the only thing I could do. But I was never in a good position because I was the shit person in the group, so I had to sit in like the place where the ball never went. But I wasn't really. I probably would have been really good at catching if they let me have the catching role. But otherwise, I'm pretty shit at cricket. But I just enjoyed being part of that team and being able to experience what a team's really like because I'm not a sporty person really. And I never would have be able to experience a team like that if it wasn't for Oren that invited me to play cricket because we were bored one summer afternoon. So I want to thank Oren for that, and Gilb and Otis who were part of that team who supported me. That was fun. I want to thank Otis for Spanish, bro. Spanish. He was really the only person I knew other than Will in that class, and I remember when the big segregation happened where everyone had to switch classes in the second half. That's when me and Otis started sitting together That was really the only way I survived. Spanish was probably the second worst lesson after history. I want to thank Isaac and Ella for the best history lessons of all time. When we switched rooms and we first had Miss Ward, we that was the best trio. Me and Isaac at the front and Ella behind. That was honestly memories I can never forget. That's probably one of my best memories in the whole of secondary school. Just Isaac, me, and Ella all talking, and that whole summer where me, Isaac, and Ella. Isaac was basically the third wheel the entire summer, but how great that summer was just because of those two, and how I nearly fucking drowned in the sea because I drank too much salt water. That was a fun time, and how we went to town and I started flipping all the plushie's hair upside down. That was a really good summer, so I want to thank those two for that. Me and Harrison in year 10 played Ark for like 2 weeks straight because we had a break, and then we haven't really played Ark properly since. But how we grinded that game so much, I ended up getting 52 hours so easily, and it's such a fun time, bro. We need to do that again. And Alfie grinded the Fortnite season 5, I think it was, no, chapter 5, season 3 battle pass, and got Darth Vader in a week because of this XP glitch. But that was a good time, Alfie. I remember our first game. he started saying some crazy things, and I would just always stick in my mind. I also want to thank Alfie for being really mainly the only other person that cared about Pokemon that I talked to. Obviously, Josh and Chris did at some point, but Alfie was the main other person. Alfie was really the only other person that I talked to that was a Pokemon fanatic. Not as much as me, obviously, but still some sort of level as me. How I saw him and Josh in the buying the game and how excited I was to see them after I skipped the whole day and I couldn't get it till later. Isaac, when we went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine together because I had a free ticket. It was such a fun time. Isaac was never really into Marvel, but when I showed him Deadpool and Wolverine, he seemed to really like it. So in year 7, when I used to play Among Us with everyone, that was a good time. How I used to call the code to people, the Among Us code, and how everyone used to get me, I used to get everyone as the imposter. I was crazy at Among Us. Don't even get me started. I also want to thank Abbas, which is a random pick, but ever since year 8, we haven't really talked that much after. Like, we stopped really being friends, but I've always said hi to him in the corridor, and I've always interacted with him, and it's never really been a stranger. He's been more of someone I could still speak to, even if I wasn't like the closest friend to him. So Abbas, you're a real one. Remember the miraculous thing, bro? When we were both accepted with miraculous, that was a time. Rocky was the first person I ever talked to in Varndine. He asked him what we were doing when we were standing on the Astro in a line, and I asked him, "Oh, Rocky, what?" And I didn't even say Rocky. I said, "Bro, what are we meant to do?" And he said, "I don't know." It took me so much courage to even ask that question. So yeah. Jake for art in year 9, 10, 11. Going to town, bro, when we were doing clay, when we used to do so much together. That was fun. Another random memory I've just thought of is when me and Isaac did a push-up competition. We'd like send each other videos of us doing push-ups. I don't think either of us were really doing it properly, but we both apparently got 43 push-ups, which I think is a bunch of bullshit. I can't do more than 25 now, so I don't think I was really doing push-ups right. Shout out to Max when we went in art, and I was saying all the movies I haven't seen after the cards. I haven't seen most of the basic films, but I was talking to him that entire time when we were doing clay, and that was really the only time I spoke to him like properly, because I don't really speak to him that much. But that time when we were doing clay is one of another good memories of mine, because we were just talking about movies and we weren't really paying attention to what we were actually meant to be doing. So that was a good time. Me and Will got trapped in a random room for Spanish, and I had to call Alfie. Not Alfie. I had to call Alfie, another Alfie, and David to come get me and Will out these doors in the school because we got lost. That was fun. 8, when we went to Barton Hall, that's when I really became close to Nate, because I was friends with him before. That's when we became close, because that was the only other person I could really speak to, and the only person I really knew there, other than who I met there, Isaac, who's now one of my closest friends in that school today. I just want to thank him for having Nate and Isaac for making me have a good time there, because I was so nervous I wasn't going to know anyone, but then I ended up going and I ended up meeting people that I know now and people that I'm made better friends with. Beef Burger Nate, I remember that was crazy. I remember seeing Isaac with that Mario Sunshine profile picture, and I was like, yo, I know Mario. And then we also got in the same bed and took a photo. That was a legendary photo. This one girl, Mabel, we went to this theme park together in year after Barton Hall, and that was fun. We got on this massive roller coaster. That was probably a good time as well. We waited in this queue for 8 hours. I don't speak to her anymore, but that was a fun time. I don't even know if she watched this, but it was a really good time. How we waited in that line for so long. And then we were in a line with Ellie for this water park thing. That was a good day. And how I pushed in front of someone at KFC. That was I don't even want to think about that. Year 7, Chesington with Ella, Laura. I don't know who else, but I remember Ella was leaning on me because I was tiny. She was like quite tall in year 7, and she would lean on me as like a body rest. And we were obviously in the same film, but she was so different to how she is now, and I never would have thought back then that she would have been my girlfriend when I was leaving secondary school. And obviously I'm really happy that she is, because she's always been so lovely to me and buying me presents every year. When I went to my mum and I was saying, Mum, this girl keeps buying me presents every year at school, and I don't really speak to her that much. And this was in year 8, and my mum was like, oh, maybe she has a question. I was like, no, she doesn't. In year 9 and year 10 we got closer. Year 9 where we did the pantomime, that was another bit when we get closer. Year 10 when we did the mocks, my dog's barking at food, we did the mocks, that was a good time. And I know I could go on for an hour, 2 hours, a whole day talking about my favourite memories at school, and these were just my top moments of school. So I just want to thank everyone that's been a part of it. And yeah, this is the montage of my friends saying their favourite moments of school.
Nate. Hot gummy bear on Alfie birthday Oren. Chris has to be the Valencia trip, comma, Nate. Or Barton Hall. Oren. It's gotta be science though. Me Troy. Chris and Jake for year 11.
I just want to thank everyone for watching, and I hope you have a cool, great rest of your lives, and I hope you enjoy GCSE summer, and I hope I get to see all of you that I want to see again. So for time, I want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.